Good morning, everyone. I'm Mireya Chaffee. I live here in Palm Springs with my husband and my son, Benjamin Chaffee, and some of you might have met him. So I am excited because I get to share the story this morning with everybody. And I wanted to talk a little bit about an interesting concept that sometimes creates problems. And it's really an opportunity if you look the right way. So I have this little card. I want to show it to you. And as you can see, there's something there that is drawn. You can take a look at it. So if we were together, I would hold it up between us. So you would be on that side looking at the card, and I'm on this side looking at this side of it. So I would ask you, what do you see? And since you can't answer me, I get to tell you what I see. So when I look at my side of the card, I see there's blue. I see something that's orange. I see black and I see green. And as you take a look at your side, do you see those things too? So what I see is a shape, and the shape that I see is a flower. And you're going, what? I don't see a flower. I see something else. So then I would ask you, really? Well, tell me, what do you see? And I'm guessing you might tell me, well, I see blue, I see pink, I see something that looks like a different kind of blue, orange perhaps. I also see black. And then I don't see a flower, I see balloons, right? Because that's what you see. This is what you see from your perspective. And that is what I wanted to talk to you about today is perspective. Maybe I should have written it backwards. So perspective is something that I want to talk to you about. Perspective is a lot of things. It means that people have different points of view, right? It could be that you're standing over there looking this way, and then you would see what's behind me. And if I'm standing here looking at you that way, I can see what's behind you. And then there's some space here in the middle where we could possibly see similar things, right? So, point of view. The other thing that kind of influences our perspective is a life experience. So that means it could be age. So some of you might be older than me, some of you might be younger than me. Some of you maybe grew up in a city, or some of you grew up in the desert or near the mountains. I grew up in the city. Some of you would have different family values. I grew up with certain family values. We respect each other. We don't call each other bad names. And we definitely try not to yell at each other, but I'm sure that happens sometimes. So, family values. Another thing that would influence our perspective is culture. Now, culture is a little bit hard to describe, but it could be that I was born in a different country that is a different culture than here in the United States where we are. For example, I am Mexican. So part of my culture is I'm Mexican, and I'm also part American because I was raised here in the United States. So part of my Mexican culture is we love to eat tamales in Christmas. That's part of my culture. I love that. The other, maybe a different part of a perspective is the country that we were raised in, like I just explained. So that is what perspective means. And every one of us, every single one of us, Even if we were raised by the same family, perhaps we have similar family values, we might have a different life experience because of our age, because maybe we're the oldest or the middle child like myself, or maybe we're the baby of the family. So we even in our own family, we would have a different life experience. Now, what does that mean? Remember, I mentioned in the beginning that sometimes that causes problems. So I want to share that there's a few things to get around that, and that here are some tips. Be curious. Ask about what the other person sees, how they experience life. Be willing to listen. That means that they might share something that is different than what you experienced, and be okay with it being different. Maybe my culture or my family values are different than yours. And then ask a lot of questions respectfully. Be curious about what they're sharing. And then always a good way to gain perspective from somebody else is to say, tell me more. One of the last things I wanted to leave you with is that God is so big, is so huge, but somehow fits inside of us, inside our hearts. And everybody has a different perspective of God based on possibly their point of view, their life experience, their family values, their culture, country they were raised in. So, respectfully, as we listen to other people tell their experience with God, we can be curious and ask them to share their God experience with us from their perspective. And I want to end with sharing what's on the back of my card, what I saw while you were looking at balloons. A flower, just a different perspective because of where I was standing and where you are, we saw different things. Happy Sabbath, everyone.